What would be the craziest animal you would get? If you could have any exotic animal, are you a primate kind of guy? Is it a big cat?
I don't know why my instant one was falcon, but I'm like,
Dude,
why would I go
falcon is dope, dude. Do a little falconry.
The other one that came into my head was a bald eagle.
This is the patriot right here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I'm never going to financially recover from
I would love that scene too, because he changes out of his jacket into his EMS jacket.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. Today, inside of Evan for 7 minutes, we are joined by hilarious Texas native comedian Jack Neal. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
From Beaumont, Texas.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. When I first met your wife, she said you were from Beaumont. And it was while I was on stage doing something and I was just doing stupid crowd work. And she said Beaumont. I thought it was like Montana.
No,
and I
could see it. Yeah.
I said some dumb shit like, "Oh, well, welcome," and she was just like, like she laughed off, like, "Okay." Like,
right.
But yeah, man, welcome to the podcast. Great to see you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. You asked me a long time ago.
Yeah, we're all busy. Jack is also one of the three horsemen of the Big Sad podcast.
Yes. Yeah, we just got that started up again. We did it for. Well, we had 96 episodes and people are like, damn, but we were doing them 2 a week because COVID hit and we had no creative outlet at all. So we started going, but like we were so new to doing podcast and we were all like, the whole entire thing was to, Raymond Cabrera was very sad. So me and Jason Johnson, we'd come and we'd like try to give him advice or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an act. Like we were like, damn, you like really are sad. Like you really are depressed, dude. Damn. So yeah, we would get into with COVID and everything going on. And then just literally how much tension everything was like dividing up and on social media and everything. It was not a funny podcast.
Dang.
Yeah. We deleted all our back catalog because some things are like, we didn't even remember what we said. Partly because like I was just hammered through a lot of it on my end as to what I don't remember saying. But like I was telling you earlier too, I would just call people out openly. Like in the Austin scene, I was mad at him. Like it's so stupid. You know what I mean? It took a long time to like get over that kind of bitterness. And now we're just like, oh, it's a comedy podcast, remember? So we just try to be funny.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, it's not really hilarious. It's pretty sad.
It actually is pretty funny if you go back and listen to it because you're like, damn, like why would you say that, or why would you? I'm probably building it up like we really went after some people hard, but you know, there was definitely some times where even as I'm talking, I'm just like, this probably isn't the best thing to do to make friends, but
it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially in comedy, there is a lot of things that are said in the darkness, whispers and names said. And it's just like, it can get draining, you know? I always took on a thing like where people start talking about so many comedians. I'm just like, man, you're talking about me behind my back. And,
absolutely. Everyone is talking about everyone for sure. Like, absolutely. I hang out with Jason all the time. He lives 2 minutes away from my store where I work. He shows up. I'll take like a 20-minute break and just sit there and kick it with him, and we'll talk shit about anything really, like, but not about comedians, but like, you know, podcast if something new came up on that, politics, basically stuff we've kind of been going through or whatever. But it's always funny when we're talking shit on each other and then like one of us finds out maybe someone said something. If I said something about him or he said something about me, there's kind of a mutual like, well, we saw that coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we do it to everyone.
Yeah. There's like, I feel like shit talking is cathartic. It's like bonding.
Yeah,
and it's like,
for sure.
Gossip is important, you know? I don't know.
I tell you, we got in the biggest, like me and him got into I'm talking screaming match on the way home, like both of us like angry, like tears almost flowing out of our face and stuff because I had said something about him at an open mic, but he wasn't there for the beginning part of the conversation. And I was basically saying to a comedian who was down here and then she left and moved to Wisconsin. As soon as she moved up there, or Milwaukee, as soon as she moved up there, she just like skyrocketed. Like she's on the Milwaukee Comedy Festival and everything like that. And I was saying like, you know, us in San Marcos, like we either need to be in Austin, for instance. If not, we're just not going to get booked. Like,
yeah,
it was one of those type conversations. It was really a sad pity party conversation.
It was a big sad.
Yeah, exactly. But she's always so good at being like, you're being a bitch. You know, she's German. She's like, you're being a bitch. Like, shut up. You're not doing the work. But I said, and I was just like, I'm not going to make it. Like, pretty much. Like, I've already, like, kind of had my, like, the way everyone kind of wants to make it in Austin through, like, Moon Tower and all that crap, right? I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do that, probably. I was like, this motherfucker definitely ain't going to be able to. All he heard was me say that. So he just starts, you know, going at me and stuff like that. And I think when the dust settled, we had kind of got to talking again. That's when kind of the mutual of like, yeah, dude, like, you heard me say that, but you've probably said that about me too. You know what I mean? Like, it just happens. Like, it's not even, I feel like if he was sitting there saying like, I was a bad husband or I'm a terrible father, I would take that real personal.
Yeah.
But when it comes to comedy, I don't take it too personal from friends. If it's a total stranger and I've seen their act and it's terrible, then I'm going to be a little pissed off. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
I'm almost the opposite, where like I have like strangers DM me or talk shit on something. Like, I don't give a shit about you.
Really? People DM you and say that?
Yeah. I get a lot of shit. Yeah.
That's
YouTube
wild.
comments. You can look at my comedy clips I posted on stand-up on YouTube.
Yeah.
They be hating.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say, if I ever posted anything, then maybe, yeah, I would probably start getting stuff. Like, you're brave and actually put your stuff out there. I don't do that. I have like 2 comedy clips out on Instagram maybe, and one of them is during the beginning of COVID, and it was when everyone was posting their clips about it, and you go back and look at it, you're like, oh, you're just following a trend.
Yeah. It's funny that I remember I had a comedian on the podcast, right? Like probably in the middle of 2020, like when the pandemic was maybe like 3 or 4 months old, when it was still like, oh shit, what's happening?
Yeah.
We talked about how, like, I thought at that time, all material before the pandemic was done. I was like, we're like living in the apocalypse now. I was like, no one's going to give a shit about Tinder dates. No one's going to give a shit about the just dumb, normal shit between people. I was like, the world is insane right now. Yeah. And then literally though, when like everything started opening back up, I felt like everybody got so tired of COVID jokes instantly. Like everybody just wanted normal stuff again. Like it was kind of like, no, don't talk about that. Cause like, I don't know. It felt like everyone went to that for a little bit, but everything just kind of went back to normal.
In a similar way too with Trump jokes. I mean, Trump jokes all of a sudden became this like, why are you even talking about this anymore? Like, that was another big one. But during COVID, where were you?
I was in California.
Yeah, I thought all that like California, Texas, like Texas is opening up real quick, or Florida, you know, they're like not doing it right. I thought we were all pretty much just kind of like locked down on the same, I guess, strictness, if that makes sense. Like I thought it was like across the board, like everyone's locked down, everyone's kind of going through the same thing. And then, but you even saying like, we're living in the apocalypse here. It was like,
bro,
it's not the apocalypse. It's like, it's literally people are getting sick. You can't go to the bars. That's pretty much is what's going on. You can go to takeout. I mean, you can't go eat at a restaurant, but like you can still go in the restaurant type deal. See,
that's why a big reason why we moved to Texas. So I lived in Arlington in like 2016, 2017, everything. And then I moved back to California.
Oh, Arlington, Texas?
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was born.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Small world. I loved it out there. And my fiance and I, well, she was my fiance at the time, we were going to move back to Arlington.
Yeah.
And I was doing comedy and everything in California. And I just love Texas. Like just everybody's so chill, like with just like literally liberty, where it's just like, yeah, do what you want. Just don't fuck with anybody else.
Yes.
But there should be no restricting you from living your life.
Right.
It's not like that during the pandemic, especially in California. People were so fucking judgmental. You'd go to the store, there'd be people with their gloves and their mask and their fucking spacesuit on. And everybody, like if you like fucking coughed or took your mask down a little bit, people would get so upset. It was really strict. There was like weird protests going on all the time. And I was like, dude, this is not living. This is like really weird. So that's literally, it was almost shock for my fiance and I at the time, where when we came here, it was like, holy shit, we're living. Like this is life again.
That's crazy, dude.
It felt so relaxed. Just even the vibe. If people had masks on or anything, there was no weird judgment. You could just walk through stores and it was like normal. And it was a huge relief, you know?
It seemed like down here, at least in Central Texas, like even when the mask stuff came out, there were very few people that were like, I'm not going to wear the mask. And I kind of was like, I don't want to wear a mask, but if that's what everyone's doing, that's what everyone's doing. Like I'll go ahead and go along with it. And then I have to tell you, there was this weird tipping point where people it wasn't even like, there wasn't like a big announcement or anything. It just all of a sudden you started seeing people being like, I'm done wearing the mask, man. You can wear the mask. I'm not wearing the mask though anymore. That was a trippy one for me, where people started doing that. My whole situation though, nothing changed for me because I'm already kind of a homebody. Mm-hmm. So nothing changed for me. I call up my boss and I'm like, hey, they shut down San Francisco. Like, what does that mean? She was like, do we live in San Francisco? I went, no. And she goes, okay, I'll see you here at 7:00 tomorrow morning. And we never stopped rolling. I work at 7-Eleven, like it's 24 hours, never stopped rolling. So nothing changed in my life except for no more stand-up, which actually, I don't know if you feel the same way, was a bit of a relief because at the time I was going out all the time. I have 2 kids at the time. One's like 3 or 4. And I'm never home. Yeah. And I'm always just like pretty much having the fun party and barely doing the work and stand up. So then I was able to not have to go out all the time. Because as much fun as going out and doing it does wear on you after a while.
Oh yeah.
It was like, I'm on day 5 or 6 of doing this, I think. I'm losing track of the days or what to do. But yeah, I was like, great. No one's able to do this. So no one's getting ahead. No one's falling behind. Oh. We can all just chill. Like this is perfect. Yeah. And then you do 8-9 months of that and you're like, all right, man, like we got to pick this up a little bit, but
yeah, it really was almost like a weird vacation in the beginning. Yeah. It did feel like that. Cause it was like, can't do anything. Don't have to be productive. I bought an Xbox. I haven't played video games in years. Yeah. And now I'm an addict. I'm on Call of Duty now, talking to little kids, talking shit, dude. Nice. It's made riffing get better because they'll say shit to you and I got to like snap back at these kids. Yeah. They have like that 3.0 brain, you know, they're faster than me. And I'm like, I got to try to keep up with them, dude.
That's always the best if you get into some sort of tiff like that, you're just like, I have a superpower you don't know about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to bust it out, but I can. Yeah. I was so pumped, man, because Tiger King came out. I know this is like this is like the most treaded on topic, but I remember I was seeing it pop up and I was like, all right, let me put this on. And I was watching it, and me and my wife typically watch shows all the time together. We're that couple. Yeah, same. But I was like, I'm going to watch this outside of her if I got all this time or whatever.
You cheated on her with a different show?
Pretty much, yeah. In the first 5 seconds of the thing, it was the dude in the jet ski. Like, I don't know if you remember that guy. Yeah. He was like, Joe Exotic is nothing but a coked out gay magician. I hit pause. I was like, I can't. Like, this is too fun. I don't even know where this is going to go. But this is, if someone is described that way, it's like, I will pay $20 to go see them live. Like, can you imagine if that was a live act? I was like, I got to stop now. But yeah, that was, and then hell blew through that and was like, all right, what else? The other thing that sucked too was my wife's birthday, like 2 days later. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Tried throwing her a surprise party. You know how hard that is when you're like, go in the bedroom and don't come out for 20 minutes.
Oh man, dude, Tiger King was a phenomenon. Like I doubt it would have had as big of an impact if it wasn't COVID and everybody wasn't at home.
Yeah.
It would have been good though. Like I think it still would have caught traction, but wouldn't have been, because it's almost like when you say Tiger King, it takes you back to that moment of like, I remember that week.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I remember watching that and being like, this is the most insane person I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. The entire story was insane. I think I know what you mean. I think it would have been equally captured everyone's fascination, imagination, whatever, for sure. But it wouldn't got to the level where we were all protesting trying to get him out of prison.
True.
That was like, to me, where you say that, like, yes, we were all like, oh, we're bored. We got to get this guy out here now. You know? Get him back out in the world. Get him running around with tigers. Yeah, that was, man.
I'm never going to financially recover from this. It was the greatest line ever. Remember when his employee got the hand torn up? Did not give a shit about it actually happening, which is like, I'm never going to financially recover from this.
And I love that scene too, because he changes out of his jacket into his EMS jacket. He's got wardrobe changes and everything. And then she's sitting there almost on her stump like, yep, that's the day it happened. Like,
damn,
what is wrong with this lady?
Yeah. Do you think Carol Baskins fed her husband to the tigers?
I thought there had been a news story that came out that he finally popped up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
He's still alive?
I didn't touch on the thing, so I don't know. Where did I see that? Just one blurb that popped up.
Yeah.
But I thought I had seen that. But you watch that, if you watch it, you're like, yeah. I mean, he's dead for sure. She did something to him. And you felt so bad for his family. Like that was the weirdest part. They have like no answers, no money now. That was a bad one.
Have you? Oh yeah, and then how they were making pizza with like the raw food they were getting for the tigers that was all expired and everything like that.
I don't remember that one.
There was a lot of nutty shit.
Hell yeah. That thing was wild.
My neighbors have pictures. Their kids have pictures with Joe Exotic.
Really?
Yeah, because they went and saw when the documentary came out. They're like, this guy looks familiar.
Yeah.
They're like, I think we went there, and then they like found the pictures of their kids posing with fucking Joe Exotic.
Damn.
Treasure that forever. You know?
Yeah,
I'd get that as a tattoo.
You gotta frame it for sure.
Yeah.
Put it up on the mantle.
Have you ever been to Snake Farm Zoo off the freeway?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah. We went out there.
That place is crazy. It's different.
Oh yeah, you've definitely been out there before they've added like the actual zoo to it. It used to be that building and that was it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
As far as I know.
That makes sense because it says Snake Farm Zoo and then they got a bunch of animals in the back that are, yeah. Because have you been back there since they added more?
They were mid-construction with some stuff. The only thing that was out there was like cows and shit. And
okay.
They were like, there's cows, there's this, and they're like, and there's our wolves. And they had these 9 wolf puppies the other day. And we were like, what? Like, that's wild. And it was the cutest thing you've ever seen. And then they're like, and then here's our alligators.
Dude.
Yeah. What else do they have now?
Now they have, so what's crazy is they're all just separated by chain link fences.
Oh no!
They have.
They had wood.
Dude, they have a couple wolves are back there.
Yeah.
Then next to it, they can literally go snout to snout. A couple hyenas, and then on next to that side, they have African lions, and on the other side, just snout to snout, they have mountain lions, and then they have a tiger in there too, and then they have leopards. So like,
and it's all chain link.
It's all chain link. But what's crazy is, and I felt bad. The male lion that was there was just drugged out. Like you could tell it was like it tried growling and like roaring and it just came out like, I don't even know one of Cosby's victims, but it was like, dude, it didn't feel good, but it also didn't feel safe. And I was like, all these apex predators are never supposed to see each other. And now they're just like snout to snout all day, dude.
That is interesting to go from one to the other to the other to the other.
Yeah.
Especially, have you ever, do you follow Nature's Metal?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, when you see those and then you go to the zoo, you're like, these things have a whole new level. Hyenas, especially. I never knew how brutal this could be. Yeah, those are wild.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's crazy that, have you seen the people in like the Middle East who they have hyenas as like pets? Like they're just in the car with them?
Yeah. It's crazy to live in like almost movie-esque shit, but that's like your day-to-day. So bland we live like in dramas over here. They live in action movies sometimes over there.
Yeah. I've always wondered what that kind of life would be. What would be the craziest animal you would get? If you could have any exotic animal, what would it be?
Dang. Put me on the spot.
Are you a primate kind of guy? Is it a big cat? Are we going?
I don't know why my instant one was falcon, but I'm like,
Dude,
why would I go
falcon is dope, dude. Do a little falconry. Have you seen those where they just like let them loose on rodents and like rabbits and shit like that?
Yeah, those are insane. But then the other one that came into my head was a bald eagle. You ever watched a bald eagle?
This is the Patriot right here, ladies and gentlemen. You know?
In the zoo, you ever been to San Antonio Zoo?
No.
They have 2 bald eagles, which is real sad. They're not. I've been to zoos where they have areas they can fly. The thing that is our nation's bird is literally now just on the ground.
Oh.
He can't fly. He doesn't even have, like in Fort Worth Zoo, I'm a big zoo guy if you can't tell.
Hell yeah.
Fort Worth Zoo, they have this massive thing they can fly around in.
Yeah.
This thing, they have them on the ground. It's terrible. Like pigeons land and just start like cooing at this thing. It's way taller. But what was crazy is we watched one time they threw in the 2 like dead mice. They started eating on them. And then they start going, like they start hopping, but it looks like they're walking over the water. I guess they almost wash off. They got their wings all out, which their wingspan is crazy. And then my wife pointed this out. She goes, looks like they're wearing little pants. Like it looks like they got all like little dark slacks. I'm like, hell yeah, I like this bird. So yeah, I think I'd go American eagle. Yeah,
dude,
or bald
hell
eagle.
yeah.
Yeah, that would kind of rule.
Yeah, and it's like that's doable. That's doable even now. You could kind of house that.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that thing fighting you in the middle of the night and just like on your neck, like the people who get fucking tigers and lions and hyenas and giant snakes.
You ever been to Galveston?
No, it's on my list.
Yeah, let's work a little harder. I don't know how high up the list is, but
it's like top 10.
It's it's Gulf, great water. Don't get off the seawall. If you get off the seawall, it's real ghetto.
Really?
Yeah.
Galveston?
Yeah. Wow. I went to
I've seen a couple pictures. It looks nice. There's a pier and everything.
Great people down there for sure. Island life for sure, but like also lots of drugs, lots of violence, which we didn't even really know about because we grew up an hour away from there. Mm-hmm. And again, it was always seawall and then this one downtown area by the Strand. Like it's a good little tourist stop. Mm-hmm. But if you get off those areas, it gets real dicey. And so we went for youth camp. It was where we do like ministry work. We build like nothing too crazy, but we built like wheelchair ramps for people in wheelchairs that didn't have ramps to get out of their house.
Dang.
Which we've seen, which was nuts. Stair sets, porches.
How are they getting out? Like X Games mode?
I would assume call a family member, come over, whatever. Hell, maybe X Games mode. I don't know.
Just a little like pop the lip. And
or I mean, some of these people were just out because we did it in a couple of different places, like a little area outside of Houston. That one, I think we went Galveston. I think we went to East Texas one time to do it. It's this thing called Army. It's dope. If you're into helping people, you just have to do the God part in the evening.
Yeah.
But it's fun overall to help people like that.
But what were you saying about Galveston? There was something with animals. The zoo. I said Galveston was on my list.
Oh yeah, it's not there anymore. But when we were kids, there was a guy. It's an island across called High Island, and I don't even know why I brought up Galveston. I was just going to slowly lead you to the animals. It's like literally just beach homes on High Island, and just one road you turn down, and all of a sudden it's animal on top of animal on top of animal, lion, wolf, whatever, tiger, and they were like all stacked on like almost what you were describing, chain link fence, but like almost like cargo. Almost like Tetris blocks.
Oh, weird.
It was the weirdest shit ever. But as a kid, when you're like 6, you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you look back, you're like, that's crazy. Oh, you had said them biting the neck thing, though. It's like, yeah, this didn't even look like the locks were even locked.
Dude.
And like, there's not a chain link fence up and around the yard. Like, they could just get out, onto the streets and stuff.
It's crazy even at like some zoos. Like you ever been to a zoo where they had an enclosure for the lion and it was just like a separation of water and it was just like, but it was no like cage. It was just like, you just have to hope it didn't stretch that morning and could just make the jump. Yeah. There was, I forgot what zoo it was at, but they were taunting the lion like so much. The lion literally just jumped over the division and attacked these two guys.
Dude, that's a huge leap too. I mean, that really is like, I'm not confident I'm going to make it over.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I did always like that too when there was actual like moat water in it and shit. Like, oh, cats don't like baths. I'm like, what is this? Why are we doing this? This is crazy. I tell you, one of the best ones is Denver. Denver Zoo is real nice because everything is up close. Like, we got shit on by a rhino or a hippo one time. You know, they do the little spin the tail when they shit.
Oh, yeah.
Their thing is so close. They just start spinning. You're like, oh, and as you back up, there's a sign like, 2 feet away from you. It's like, don't stand this close, idiot.
It's like the shit splash zone.
Yeah, a hippo will shit on you. Like, oh, okay.
They have those little, what are those things that people wear in the splash zone, but for shit?
Yeah, like ponchos or whatever. Yeah. Like a Gallagher show.
Yeah, with a fucking hippo little tail on it.
You guys ready for some shit?
Yeah. Dude, you can get a picture of you getting shit on like at a roller coaster when they snap your picture going down.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
I'd take that.
So during the pandemic, did it feel weird? I've only had a couple people tell me, but like, did it feel weird when so many people were moving here for comedy? Like, did you look at it as a bad thing or
I loved it, man. I hated the old scene. The old scene sucked.
In Austin?
Yeah, man. It was
I love how you just say it how it is.
I mean, it is what it is. Half of them, I don't even know if they do comedy anymore. There's like two, see, you get me on this.
Don't say names.
No, I feel like this is an agreed upon thing right now amongst certain people I've talked to, but there's one guy on there. It's like, I didn't even know you still did comedy. Like, hey, where the fuck they find you from?
Yeah.
It brings out that bitterness in you, tell you that. I mean, it's like literally, if you're not part of the cool kid club, then it's so hard to get in.
Where did you start doing comedy?
I started in Beaumont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, I did. It's Southeast Texas comedy, man. I mean, it's not country, but it's hack. I mean, it's really. Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's, everyone needs a place to start.
Oh, yeah.
But it's one of those where we'd have a couple mics pop up every now and then you'd have a crazy guy come in, say something nuts, and then they'd just be like, no, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So the most consistent one was you do 10 minutes every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And I'd been doing it. Maybe this is why people didn't like me, because I came up here with an attitude, kind of, because I'm like, I've been doing this shit 5 years, yada, yada, yada. Well, I've been physically going behind a mic and talking for 5 years, but like you kind of, in stage time years, probably 2. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. But to me, I'm like, 5 years, I automatically deserve respect. I'm like nowhere near have even close to what my voice would be or anything like that. And it takes a long time to develop down there if you're only doing
10 minutes
every 2 weeks.
That's rough.
But we had some people that would so we had this, like, I'd call it almost a D level room as far as comedy club rooms. Like, it was not a great comedy club room, but we would have some of the headliners from Houston come down, and they're like really solid at comedy, know what they're doing, just for whatever reason, they're doing all the right steps, but maybe it's just they're not willing to move to LA or New York permanently. Like, they go out for like pilot season, and just stay out there for that and then come back. But they would come down, and I was really good friends with a guy. He ran a comedy club before it closed, and at the time, they had like Ralphie May come through, Doug Stanhope come through, Joey Diaz come through. Joey Diaz has a famous story that he's told a couple times of him doing like 20, 30 Xanax or Oxycontin and passing out on stage, and that was in the comedy club in Beaumont.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out.
So when those guys would come down, he would always be like, "Oh, come meet the headliners." And so, like, as a young comic, you could ask him certain stuff.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I mean, I haven't even heard or talked about pilot season in like an actual reality up here or down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I knew of it because of these headliners, because of stuff like that. But it was fun. It was a lot of bad habits that needed to be broken once I got up here, but it was a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's like I think it's actually better to start in a smaller scene. Did your open mics actually have audiences?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
See,
did.
that's something that's really good about smaller scenes is you actually get real audiences rather than a bunch of comedians that aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
I remember that in LA because I started in Ventura, which is just like a coastal city, and then would drive to LA all the time for mics. And
How far away is that?
so I would drive. I lived in Ventura at the time. Do you know California at all?
No.
Okay. So I was born in a small desert town inland, and then I moved after college with my fiance at the time. I don't know why I keep saying my fiance at the time. She's my wife now.
It's all good, dude. Don't call her girlfriend. I made that mistake when she was my fiance. I called her girlfriend on stage one time. She was pissed.
How dare you? But then we moved to Ventura, and then Ventura is about an hour 15, hour and a half to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Depending on traffic.
So when you hear, just quickly, when I hear like people say, you know, it's like LA, I always hear, you know, Ventura, the Valley, like Fresno. I'm thinking all these places are like 10 minutes apart from each other. And that
The Valley's like 45 minutes from LA.
Okay.
San Fernando Valley, yeah, depending. But the thing is like LA is so nuts with traffic that you could be 5 to 10 miles away and you're 45 minutes to an hour away.
Yeah.
Because of the 405.
Yeah.
That's why it's always funny is like people will complain about traffic on the 35. I'm like, you guys don't know the 405.
Right.
It's insane. Like you would, like there's times, even the 101 going from Ventura to LA, it could be 40 miles and it could take me 2.5 hours to 3 hours.
Damn.
And then I would go do stand up and then drive back at like 1 or 2 in the morning. But the thing about it is I was doing a lot of paid spots just to get stage time in LA where I would pay $5 for 5 minutes. I would pay $7 for 7, 10 for 10 minutes. And you'd be doing it in only a room full of comedians who they're either on their phone, they're looking at their notes, they don't give two shits. So you're literally just getting the skill. Like all I used it was to the skill of being able to bomb in silence and just keep going through my jokes and all of that. So there was some benefit, but it would make you cold and it would make you hate comedy. Because you're like, this sucks. Not getting any laughs. These people are judgmental. And it's just like, you're like, this doesn't feel good at all. And then you would get a show. And you'd be like, you'd feel weird when you were like doing good. And when you're getting laughter, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
I'm not used to this shit.
Yeah.
But I remember vividly having this conversation with a couple dudes, sold everything, packed everything up in the car, heading to Hollywood for the dream to do stand up. And they got there and they realized what the open mic scene was. And they were like, holy shit. They're like, we were doing open mics in, I don't know, Missouri for 90 people. Like they were like, we would have sold out. We would sell tickets to our open mic for 90 people. And then they're like, we come here and we'll do, you know, in a coffee shop of 7 comedians.
Yeah.
And I'm being forced to buy a coffee if I want to go on stage. Like it was rough, dude.
That actually opens my eyes to something I've seen about you and the way I handle lazy days on Wednesdays at 7:30 when I do that mic every Wednesday.
That was a great plug.
But when you when I've noticed, like when you show up, you'll go up and you'll just do your set, and I think I've probably stopped doing it, but I know before I've been like, you know, this is what it is, and yada yada yada. Like I'm like apologizing for how it is, but if you came up like that, and there is only 2 people that are like into it, I've seen the way you've interacted with them, and I'm like, damn, dude, like, I'm thinking the whole time everyone's mad at me because I can't draw a crowd. But if that's the way y'all are coming up and y'all at least have 2 people to work off of, you're like, it's 2 people compared to only comics. Because I've heard certain people say that's like, hey, there weren't that many people in there, but at least they enjoyed it. And I'm like, oh, stop it. Like, you don't have to be nice. And some people are like, no, for real. Like, those are, at least those are people wanting to pay attention. It's really turned my head around, but because I'm like, well, if people are saying they at least enjoyed it or they got something out of it, then cool. Like comics, meaning. I'm like, well, cool. And you explaining that to me and knowing some of the comics that have said that, like, don't worry about it. You had a couple people and they were into it. It made the show better. Like, okay, cool. Like, I get it now. Dude, when you were doing the paid open mics, did y'all ever have this almost like
suicidal feeling?
No. We shouldn't have to do this. Or was it just accepted over there?
I think it was just literally the nature of the beast of like, this is just what it is here because you have to do spots. But there also was like bigger comedians coming in just to like, I've always looked at open mics as work. Like I'm just literally going to craft jokes, new jokes, and add tags to, jokes that I know work. Like it's just a process. And also just the repetition of getting on stage where it's just like, I got to be doing it just to be ready for shows. So there was like bigger comics that were like touring comics coming to some of these mics. Just even, like Joey Diaz used to always go to the same open mic I would go to, like at the same time. Like he didn't need to be there, but he'd be going to Fourth Wall and just like doing his set before he goes to the Comedy Store to do it in the main room. Like just, it was a crazy thing. So I think by the time I like came into it, I was like, okay, this just is what it is. There's so many people in LA that to just get stage time and to get into the scene, you kind of have to go through this.
They tried doing that up here. One guy, I don't know if he's still around or not. And I want to say it was Romo Room. Were you here when Romo Room?
Yeah, that was the first spot I came into.
So I don't know if it was the room itself, or I don't know if it was called the Romo Room at that point. I think it was just the room itself, maybe under a different name. But the guy who was running it was like charging $5 for open mics, and like it was almost like gather your pitchforks and run this guy out of town. And you're just like, it always fascinated me because I'm like, hey guys, or just don't go. Like he's trying to, like, we're all trying to make money at this. If that's the way he wants to make money, like, let him be. If nobody goes, he's not going to make money. He's not going to do it. But to basically tell this guy how to run his room was insane to me. Like, grow up. Like, what do you can't force someone not to do something they don't want to do in those terms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're saying like, this ethnicity can't come, or no women, or no men, or what, no trans, like that's something where you're like, yo, bro, like you can't do that. But if it's like he's just charging you money, shut up. Like, what do you care? What do you care what that guy does? Yeah,
it was like because there was a lot of free mics in LA, but you'd be waiting around for 3 or 4 hours, and it'd be a list of like 90 comics. Like it was insanity. I don't know. Like I do get like, if you want to try to charge, like you better be providing a service almost if you want to charge people. Like it'd be dope if Romo Room did that, but they had an audience and then they were filming your set for you also. And then it was like, you can use this set to go get booked on bigger shows. Yeah. Like then you're giving, like you're getting an actual service. Like I know a lot of places that would do that. Be like, come and do this. But it's $25, but you'll get a 10-minute set, like, and you'll get a copy of your set for bookers. Yeah, when you're first starting off, even if like that 10 minutes alone is like, I could pay for 10 minutes of stage time. Yeah, especially in an area like this, for example. Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. I've been meaning to ask you. We can switch gears. We talk a lot of stand up. That was all good. Yeah. What is it like growing up in Beaumont? Is that where you got into rollerblading, roller skating, or blading? Blading. I can't roller skate at all, ironically. Do you look down on roller skaters? Nah, they do some cool shit too.
See, here's the thing. When you're the lowest on the totem pole as a rollerblader, you look at everyone as cool. I look at pogo stick people as cool. Yeah. There's some cool pogo people out there. Yeah.
Pogo people. The pogos.
I looked up competitions of pogo competitions.
They have pogo competitions?
Yeah. They have one. I think it was like in Pittsburgh or something over the summer. I was like, oh, I want to go to this. And it was like 5 competitors. Like,
Dang,
I've never been to
dude.
Pittsburgh, so why not?
I wonder if that's one of the things where you just like, everybody can pogo, and then you go see a pogo competition and they're just pogoing crazy. Like
Yeah.
you're just like, I can't do anything
like,
they can do.
Instagram will open you up to, you just type in anything like that, like pogo, extreme, whatever.
Extreme pogo?
I mean, I don't know what you would call that. Because if you just type up pogo, you're going to get anything from like, 5-year-old trying to learn, or you can get this crazy guy if you want to narrow it down. I don't know how you would. That's why I said extreme. But no, I rollerbladed. So I lived in Arlington for the first like 11 years of my life. And at a certain point, my a babysitter moved that I was staying at when I was really young. And then my mom was like, I ain't got time to find a babysitter, so you're just going to come home and whatever. So wheels were the only thing I had to get around on, but I would use bike, skateboard,
You and Abbott,
rollerblade.
dude.
Huh?
You and Abbott.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I had a wheelchair, that'd be dope, but I'd still be trying to do wheelies. I was just always attracted to that. And then once I got to like Arlington, of course, it's the Metroplex. Like there's skate parks everywhere, everything like that. Then when I moved to Beaumont, I was like, I guess I'm the only rollerblader down here. And then going to school, I'd gone to an X Games back in Dallas. And I came back with the shirt. And one of the kids was like, you know that brand? I was like, yeah, rollerblade. And I didn't know there was like 5 or 10 of them in Beaumont. And so we all it really helped. Like that was the friend group I found.
Yeah.
Of course, we all splintered off at a certain point, but like that's an example of being lonely, doing something kind of unique or the social norm and finding friends.
Is the term inliners, is that an offensive term to the blade world? Have you heard that term before?
Of course, man. Yeah.
Okay.
I've watched Brink before. Of course. Yeah, I don't know what. I just go with rollerblading or skating. I mean, skating's the one to use in my opinion, but skateboarding took that over. I'm going to go skate.
They appropriated.
It's like, well, say you're going to go skateboarding because that's what you do. I skate. These are skates.
Because you can also say you're going boarding and it doesn't interfere with rollerblading. You know, you're going skating, but now they're taking skating and boarding and skateboarding.
It's too much.
The privileged.
And I understand too why they would say skating because it's not as long as skateboarding. That's why I don't want to say rollerblading. I just want to say skating. That's it.
Blading sounds dope though. Sounds aggressive.
It sounds like you're a cutter though is the problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to go blading and people are like, what are you talking about? It's rollerblading will never be big again. It will never, the 90s just killed it. There's a great documentary called Barely Dead that really broke down what they did wrong and like every step of the process of making rollerblading uncool. And now it's a shame because now there's really cool shit being done in rollerblading.
Do you think that Heelys are like the inbred stepchild of rollerblading? You can take a second.
I just inbred, you know what I mean? I don't know about stepchild. Yeah, Heelys and soaps. Talk about uncool look. That's again, rollerblading will never be popular because of stuff like Heelys and soaps. It's like, man, we should be able to do this whenever we don't have our skates on our feet. It's like, no, we shouldn't. We should like come up with fashion that actual, Evan would wear, even though he doesn't skate. Like, let's not make shoes to where you can also do the activity. They re-brought back, you know what soaps are, right?
Oh, yeah.
They re-brought them back.
Recently?
Yes, and they gave them to some of the top pros in rollerblading, and they're posting them on Instagram like it's cool. And it's like, it's not, man. Like, you're having to now learn parkour to make it look kind of cool.
Man.
Rollerblade, anything with wheels to me is really beautiful. Like, especially if you've done it enough, and people know how to make it look good, and it's just so smooth. And there's nothing like a guy grinding on a rail and having to run out of it. You're like, that is so bad looking, dude. That looks terrible. Like, it's not cool at all. And then goes and attempts to like backflip off a wall, but can't quite do the backflip. You're like, dude, you are the top rollerblader in this industry. Like, why are you doing this to us? Like, stop, please.
I can see you're very passionate about this.
I love rollerblading.
Is there
I got a tattoo of it on me.
Really?
Yeah, Valo.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's terrible. The guy was so mad.
What is Valo?
It was a skate brand. I forget what it's a Spanish for something. I forget what it is, but it was just this. It was like a brand that everyone really got behind, and I was like, "This is the only skate I'll ever use." Yada yada. And then you found out the backers were like, "We're actually going to make skates now, so we can't have direct competition." So they just cut the brand off. I'm like,
what if they started making Heelys and soaps? Would you burn it off of your body?
What do you mean?
Valo, if they start producing soaps and
I'd be so mad.
and then like people would point it out to you, be like, "Oh yeah, you like Heelys?" You're just like, "Ah."
I don't know. I'd probably get like version 1 or something on my arm. Like I don't know if I could just completely get rid of it or whatever, but
They should send you money if they're still around. Like that should be a sponsor. Like you put them on your body. That's for life.
they don't have to, man. I got up on their website one time.
Really?
I was so stoked. And the worst, it was like, I was stoked at like 23. It wasn't even like I was 18. I was like,
That's
yes.
dope. With the tattoo out?
Yeah.
They were like, yeah.
I was like, biggest accomplishment. Go away, kid.
That's
like my
hilarious.
2-year-old.
I'm done with you. Start a new family.
Yeah, like this rocks, dude.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Any groupies in rollerblading? Like, do they have a name for them? Like the Blade Babies or something?
No, they have Bladies now for women skaters. Dude, that name rules. That's a good marketing technique. Bladies.
Yeah.
I think that rocks. But no groupies, because literally it's just not cool. I went to a competition like 3 months ago, and some of the women that were hanging around, I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, we still don't even have any
No athletes?
good looking ones.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, you got a couple. What's her name? I feel like I've dropped so many random names on this show. But China Winstrol, I think, is her name. If you look her up on Instagram, she is really good. And I will say and this sounds weird, but she skates like a guy. Like, there's a certain style to it. And she's like way better than some of the men that skate.
Are they testing her for performance enhancing? With a name like China Winstrol, that sounds like an Asian steroid. China Winstrol.
It does. I didn't think about that. I don't even know that's how you pronounce her
China
name.
Winstrol.
Yeah,
dude,
China
that shit you buy in the back of a Planet Fitness for $50. Don't know what it does.
Yeah, China with a Y. I see you.
Shout out China.
Yeah.
Have you ever? So would you ever race, or were you into like vert and like street stuff?
No, not so much racing, but yeah, like skate parks, street, stuff like that. Yeah. Back, I was in an era where they didn't have, they were all indoor parks. They didn't even have outdoor parks. So Beaumont got theirs like 6 years, like pretty much a year or two before I left. They finally got one. So we would skate just street spots all around.
Yeah. And then you're having to deal with cops chasing you and everything like that.
Yeah, it didn't take long to figure out why I don't deal well with authority. Like, yeah, just getting yelled at by cops all the time and things. Yeah, it was it was whatever. But that's, man, you want to talk about thinking you just have. It's just like, I'm gonna tell this cop off, and it doesn't take long for them to really put you in your place. I'll tell you one. Going back to Galveston, we went over to Galveston. Also tying back to it kind of being hood, it's only 2 blocks off the seawall. This kid put a gun on us.
Oh, damn.
And we were freaking out. And then he was like, "It's a pellet gun, pussy." He still shot us. We're like, damn. But so we got there, and it was a really sick park. But like, it was Saturday, and the park was, it was Sunday. I'm sorry. It was Sunday, and the park was closed. It's a public park. Park is closed. And we're like, well, we just drove an hour to an hour and a half to get here. So we just climbed the fence and start skating around. A couple other people's like skateboarders came up. Hey, how'd you get over? Just climb the fence. So we had probably 3 groups of us that were in the fence. And then we were there for like 2 hours. These cops come screaming up. They're like, what the fuck are y'all doing in there? And we're like, we're just skating, man. Like, y'all need to get over here. So we all start climbing the fence. So it's one guy at a time doing it. They're not having everyone jump over. One guy jumps over. The cop goes, how old are you? The guy says 18. He's like, old enough to go to county jail. Another guy hops over. How old are you? 22. Old enough to go to county jail. I'm the last one in line. There's like 10 of us. He's asking the same repetitive fucking question. I finally hop over. He goes, how old are you? And I just like pop down, pop up and look at him and go, old enough to go to county jail. He was like, is that where you want to go? I'm like, oh shit. Dude, they give us this lecture about like how terrible Galveston is with their violence problem at the time, drugs, all this shit. And they don't need to be coming to the public park for a trespassing warrant. I was like, well, hey man, I don't know what else to tell you. It's a Sunday. We're all off work on a Sunday. It's a public park. Why are you closing it? They're like, oh, how far away did y'all drive? And we're like an hour and a half. Like, you have to invest time to come here. That's why we're on your property. Like, we're not just going to turn around and go home. And he's like, man, okay. He's like, we understand. Y'all can go ahead and go home. But if we ever see y'all in here again, we are taking you to jail just because we don't want to have to, like, deal with any of this shit.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
All right, dude. Whatever.
That's crazy.
And you get stopped by cops, like, all the fucking time. It's like, go to the next spot. It's like, I think our whole day's ruined. It's a small town. You're probably going to catch us at the next spot as well.
Yeah. So, Jack Neal.
Yes, sir.
You've worked at 7-Eleven.
Yes.
What is the craziest thing that you've experienced working at a 7-Eleven? And I need to ask first, do you work the day shift or the night shift, or have you worked both?
I've worked all over. Yeah.
You've worked 7-Eleven.
I don't do overnights.
Get too crazy at night?
Don't do overnights.
Besides the sleep schedule.
It gets real boring, but at the one I work at, man, sometimes you get the, but it's never a great look. You get the women popping out from like the clubs at like, or whatever, one night stands at like 4 a.m. You're like, damn, as they're walking up, and then you see they're just like crying and mascara's going down your face. You're like, I don't want to know what happened tonight. You're like, this could be bad. And they just come in. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. What am I dealing with? Craziest shit we've ever dealt with. It's usually always around homeless people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a guy one time, he was just freaking out because he thought they didn't give him his blunts or whatever. I mean, he's like tearing his shit up in the store, and a woman comes and gets me out of the back. She's like, hey, there's this homeless guy, tearing shit up and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, you're the only man working today. I'm like, that doesn't mean I'm a fighter. Like, what do you call the cops? She's like, we did. They said they'd be there when they'd be there. I'm like, well, here's our solution then.
You're like, equality. Get out there, champ.
Exactly. I'm like, what do you want me to do? And so the guy finally comes up, and so all 3 of the women, they're petrified. Mm-hmm. They're like older women, or older, shorter women. He comes up and he's like, this is bullshit, yada, yada. I have my receipt for my blunts and I didn't get them. And then one gets brave and goes, I already gave you your blunts. I'm like, what are you doing now? Now you're trying to get me into a fist. I'm like, just give me the shit. I gave it to him. He's like, thank you. And then goes back, packs up his stuff and bounces. I'm like, yo, you were willing to almost get us killed over $2 and you don't even make a profit off this store. What are you talking about? And it's just homeless people like that are pretty much the only problem we've had. There was one extreme one where it was right in pandemic, right as BLM shit is popping off. And there was this homeless black dude that refused to move. 4 cop cars pull up, immediately jump out, guns drawn. And me and my manager are behind the guy at the glass. And we're like, no, like, don't shoot. It's going to come through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I remember one time I was at a 7-Eleven at like 1 a.m. and I was with a buddy, and I was buying a pack of condoms, and not for the buddy.
Yeah.
And it's weird foreshadowing that I'm putting. But this homeless guy comes up next to me and he sees what I'm buying and he's like, oh yeah, about that time, ain't it? And at first I'm like, yeah, like, whatever. And then he's like, yeah. And he starts getting real weird. And then he leans on the counter and he starts grinding on it. And then I realize this dude is in full sexual arousal.
Oh my God.
I sent him down a world I don't know. And he's literally like humping the counter and getting so weird. And there's like, Terry,
yeah.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
Go outside. And he's like, nah, it's that time. And I'm just like, this this guy's name. Like he comes in here whenever someone buys condoms and just,
Yeah. Ours are more nicknames. Yep, that's Black Jacket. Black Jacket. Stuff like that.
That's funny.
You get some cool ones that come up though sometimes. I mean, there was Raymond. Raymond was cool. He would actually walk and go do jobs and then him and his dog would just pal around.
Really?
Yeah. And then Raymond, he got his dog taken from him. And I've never seen a man say, you would have thought literally his child died.
Damn.
Because you got to think about it. He doesn't have paperwork to go get this dog. So this dog is just in the pound, probably going to get killed. Yeah, like that's fucked up.
Yeah. I think about like some of the dogs that I see the homeless people have. Those dogs are living better lives than dogs in houses a lot of times. Like they're actually getting fulfillment of being a dog in the world.
Yeah.
Having a purpose, And
they're also just it's like the most love because this dog doesn't judge. I think that's like the common thing, right? The dog doesn't judge the homeless person like everyone else does in their life.
Yeah. It's real companionship.
Yeah. They really feel it. It's, seriously, one of like almost tearjerker moments is that guy losing his dog because he was just like despondent outside the store. It was like, are you all right, Raymond? He's like, they took my dog. They took my dog. They took my dog. And I'm like, oh, fuck. It's sad because it's like, oh, fuck. Like he relapsed because they took his dog.
Yeah.
Type deal. It's real shitty situation.
Damn.
Homeless people, though, I mean, this ain't much of a shocker, but homeless people scared the shit out of me.
Say what?
I have no sympathy. I have barely any sympathy for homeless people. And I've tried turning this into something for stage, but it's got a lot to explain and set up. But like people never think of if someone has a prejudice towards someone, they just think they're just hateful automatically. It's like, no, you have experiences in that.
Yeah.
And my homeless experience as to why they all scare the shit out of me, why I always am like, get the fuck away from me. We had a homeless dude. I was 16. I was working at this place called Navrosky's in Beaumont and a little burger place. And this homeless dude comes in and he just lays upside down in our booth. And it's like a family restaurant. And so the guys working there are like, hey man, you got to go. And he's like, all right, I'm going to use the restroom. So he goes, he's in the restroom forever. And then finally some guy comes up to us. He's like, hey man, like there's sounds coming out of that restroom that my kids don't need to hear. I was like, yo, you got to go, dude. So, all right, he leaves. So we finish up the shift and I go out and I have an 88 Suburban at the time. I never locked the fucking thing. Oh. Nothing like that. And I walk out and I open the front door. It's like midnight. Open the front door. And I'm like, what the fuck is that smell? Oh. And out of nowhere, as I'm saying that, the homeless dude pops up from the back like just a scare, like it's and like I mean I go running back inside. The guys are stoked inside because they're like, dope, I get to fuck someone up. They're grabbing like knives and shit and like both doors are open now. He's way down the block and he had like had my jacket and I swear to God the jacket is stuffed. The sleeve is stuffed inside of the front of his pants. And like he clearly didn't get his nut off in the thing. And I'm like, man. But I'm not lying, dude. For like 6 months, I couldn't get into a vehicle alone without looking all throughout the windows to make sure no one was in there. It's scary. I'm like, what if I was driving home and he did that mid-drive? Like, I would have killed us.
Yeah.
I would have absolutely killed us. That's the reason homeless people scare the shit out of me.
I love it. Jack Neal, is there anything else you want to add to the podcast?
Nah, man. Thanks for having me on. This is dope.
We're so people can hear you and your two other hosts, Raymond Cabrera and Jason Johnson.
Yeah, we're at Big Sad Pod. It's wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify.
It's a good
Apple,
podcast.
stuff
I
like
listened to the episode today, and I gotta be honest with you. I support Jason Johnson with the tightest line ever of "If you're feeling froggy, leave."
Get out of here.
Dude, I heard that line. I was laughing because, so for the listeners, Jason Johnson, great comedian, great guy, soul of the earth, real sweetheart.
Yes. Very good guy.
He almost got into it with this drunk guy, and he told the guy, if you're feeling froggy, did he say leap or did he say jump, or did he just say, if you're feeling froggy, we can do this?
He said, and that's the worst part, dude, he said, oh yeah, motherfucker, I'm feeling froggy. And the other guy said, well then leap.
Yeah,
But
dude,
I'm
classic.
I was in between them going, first off, that's not even how you finish that statement. And it's jump, not leap, idiot. Like, what
Dude,
the
leapfrog
fuck is
works. It's like for you to almost be like getting into a fight with someone and you saying, I'm feeling froggy. And if they go, well, then leap, that should be like a high five moment of like, we just did that. You know,
that should have been where it got resolved.
like
for sure.
laughing. I'm just like,
yeah. Like two gentlemen fighters from the fucking 20s where that phrase came from, dude. That was so crazy when he said that shit. Cause I'm just standing in between them. And as soon as he said, that was one of those moments where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why'd you just say it like that, dude?
Dude, the first time I ever heard that phrase, it was being used in a serious conversation. I was at this campground as a kid, and me and my buddy are watching this altercation happen at the campsite next to us, where someone from maintenance that worked at the campsite was telling someone that they had to either shut something down or leave or something. And the guy was not having it. And he was in this dude who worked there's face. And he was like, come on, motherfucker. He's like, if you're feeling froggy, jump. Come on, jump. And we were laughing. We were like, he's like calling him like froggy.
Yeah.
And then the guy goes, come on, let that dog off the leash. Like he kept only using animal metaphors to incite this dude. Like one after the other. Like, listen, you might be able to pull off if you're feeling froggy jump, but you can't go right into let that dog off the leash.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like,
yeah. If you feel free, fly away like a bird, like a pretty little bird out of a
tweet,
cage.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it like that too. I've heard that phrase. That phrase is actually not too bad. But to hear it separated by two people, I was like, this isn't how this is supposed to go. This sucks. Man. But yeah, we got Big Sad Pod. Like I said, we're on Anchor FM. He uploads all this shit. But yeah, it's
Spotify also.
It's all over. Yeah, it definitely is on Spotify if you want to check us out. And then I do do the weekly open mic at Lazy Days 7:30 on Wednesdays. I think I said Wednesday twice there. And then just go to jackneilcomedy.com because I got all my shit up there.
And then you guys are doing monthly shows, pretty much the prickly pear.
Yeah. Something me and my wife, she works on the production side of that or promotion side of that. I'll book out people, and we have 2 shows going. We have just go to Jack Neil Comedy. We switched up the way the dates work, so I was about to confuse a lot of people. But yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, go check out his stuff. Remember, no matter what, I still love you.